Hello. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining the session. Any questions from our previous session? Any questions? Yeah. All right. So in continuation to our last session, so we were looking at the bar chart. So we saw a couple of properties of this bar chart. So how you create this stack, and when you have two dimensions or two expressions, the stacks take over. Now suppose I take off these two dimensions, I just go with one dimension, product ID. Now I've applied allow thin bars, so what will happen is a lot of product IDs, so all the thin bars are created. Now there are different ways of representing this in a more better method. Like under the presentation tab, so we have a property called as chart scrolling. So it says as chart scrolling. Over here you have enable x-axis scroll bar. So if you enable this and give the value over here when the number of items exceed 10. So technically what happens is if there are more than 10 bars, right, 10 values that are displayed, ClickView will automatically create a scroll for it. What will happen is if I say OK, now the chart is going to display the first 10 and the rest will be like a scroll. So the user can scroll and go to the last 10 too. So it's like a good interactive chart where you don't have to spend time creating two different charts, top 10, bottom 10, or if the user has to see the middle 10, it becomes a challenge, right? So if you give him a scroll, so like this, he can see the products which are basically available in that range. Now, if you look at this expression, right? So under expressions, I put this total order quantity. I've given the calculation of sum of order quantity, right? There is no way that I have defined the percentage of it. I've not divided it by the total. I have nothing. I've just told sum of order quantity. With that, I have also checked over here the relative sign. Now what happens is the moment I select relative, the total, the 4.54% is the relative percentage of the entire total in this chart. So if I put together all the bars, so whatever is the total, like this the total of 870, product ID 870 divided by the overall total. So it's like 4.54% of share. So that's what this relative does. So if you don't check this, it will give you the absolute numbers. So it is telling 3,519 units. So if the moment you check it, it will convert that relative percentage of it. So wherever you want it, if you don't have to kind of struggle trying to calculate the overall total, dividing it, nothing. Just check the relative, it will do the same thing. Now, you saw how we add trend lines. Now, if I want to draw like a reference line for myself, I'll just get rid of these grid lines first. Right, I want a reference line. Maybe I want to draw it at 1000 or 900 as a reference line to compare all the products. So what I can do is, I can go to the presentation tab. Over here, there's something called as a reference line. I can add multiple reference lines. So I can say add. It'll give me a label. So I can say this is like budgeted units. Okay, the label of the reference line. There's over here, there's expression, right? So I can define the expression. I can say 900. So a line will be drawn at the 900 point. So it is a uniform line for 900. So you can immediately see that. So like this, you can have multiple lines. And that's 650. So 4 cast. So at 650 another line. You can change the color of this line. So if you go to the presentation and select one of these, say edit, so there here is the color. So you can keep changing the color. So you can change the color of this and do it. Yeah. No, I had actually paused myself. So like I was telling, budget units forecast. So you can draw these forecast lines. You can delete them at any time you want to. So this way you can do it. Now this budget lines need not be absolute numbers. So when I say, so if you want to say budget, this need not be an absolute number over here. So this says expression, right? So you can click here and write a big expression. If you have any big method of calculation. So if you have a method of writing an aggressive, drawing that line, right? Creating a target, any formula, any function, sum of budget, sum of, so maybe you want to say sum of order quantity, right? You want to see the average of order quantity overall, right? So you can take the sum of overall order quantity divided by count of all product IDs. So distinct product IDs. Now what it will give you, it will give you, so this is, so on an average, every product ID has a sale of 1,000 units. So you are seeing that which product is, whether the products are there or not. Now this is coming through an expression, right? Because I wrote an expression over that telling that it is basically calculating sum of order quantity divided by count of distinct product IDs. That's how you can look at it. Apart from this, at the same place you see this text in chart, right? Suppose you want more text in chart. So you can write an text over here telling that this chart is showing data for product ID. Okay. Over here the chart shows up over here. Now whenever you're on a particular object, right, on a particular chart, if you use control and the shift button continuously, simultaneously, so you press them, you see the red lines that you're seeing. These are the chart internal lines basically. The overall chart size is different. Within the chart, these objects, again, these small things are differently, you can differently align them. So if you use control and shift together, you'll see these red lines. So you can minimize this chart a little bit, right? Reduce the size and increase the size of this text box so that you can see your entire text. And this way you can deploy text within a chart. Now this text can also be written in an expression based on the calculation. And then you can derive some insights out of it. that's the text in chart. Then now coming back to expression. Now expression, you're seeing this sum of order quantity, right? Sum of order quantity. Now let me just flip this, copy this expression and paste it over here. Now I'll show you unit price. What will happen is the unit price scale is very high, the budget, the order quantity is very low, and user doesn't want to see this method. User just wants to see either order quantity or unit price, right? The user is more interested in either one of them. So the other best method to do this is create two charts, right? One on top, one on bottom. One with the order quantity, one with the unit price. Instead of doing that, ClickView gives you a flexibility where you select the second dimension. There's something called as group, right? You say group. These both will be grouped in this cyclic kind of symbol. So this is nothing but a cyclic symbol. What it enables the user is to flip through the measure. So now he's seeing unit price. Sorry, now he's seeing the order quantity. User can, when he clicks on the cycle, it will change to unit price. Now this is showing as unit price. So you can right click, select order quantity, right click unit price. This way, same chart can see multiple measures. So there is absolutely no requirement for you to create two different charts. Right? This is called as a cyclic group. You can in fact add another expression. So you say this time you say unit price discount for. So this also you group it. All three will be grouped. It's just that you can create only one group. I will take off this delete option. So unit price, total order quantity, unit price discount. So the way all the user has to do is click on this, right? When he right clicks on it, he can actually select what he wants. Otherwise, if he keeps clicking on it, based on the sequence, it will show unit price, order quantity, unit price discount. So this way, same chart, I can give 3-4 different measures. Not necessary that they have to be visible at once. You can just put a cyclic group over there, and based on the user, based on what he wants to do, you can do that. So that's the cyclic group of expression. Similarly, you can build it for dimensions too. So under dimensions tab, you have something called as edit groups, right? So you can go to edit groups, create new. Say you say this is a generic cyclic. There are two things. One is drill down, one is cyclic. I will explain what is drill down. We'll just select cyclic. Cyclic is nothing but changing the dimension. Over here, I will go ahead and select product ID. I can select product ID. I can select customer ID. I can select territory ID for that matter. Right, three things. I'll say okay. Okay. Now these groups, right, whatever you create in any chart or global groups, it's not like valid only for this chart. It is valid for all the charts. So once you create this generic cyclic group, it will be available for all the charts in the document. So you next time you create any line chart, combo chart, anything, it will be available over there. So it's like a global group definition wherever you create. So I'll say add instead of product ID. Now what user gets is a combination of two things. One is a combination of the unit price. So it's like three expressions and 3 dimensions. So 9 combinations of analysis a user can do. So you can select a product ID. For customer ID, he can see unit price discount, unit price and order quantity. He can flip through territory ID. He can see total order quantity, unit price discount, unit price. He can flip through product ID, again flip through this thing. Now this, doing this without having going back to the IT, without redoing the chart, and without struggling too hard to do it. So this is what is more flexibility at the user end that you build in, like kind of self-service kind of a thing, right? So flipping through dimensions or expressions without all at the same place. Unless the user wants to see all the 3 or 9 charts next to each other, he can always flip it and look at the data. This option is called as a cyclic chart. So if you observe the current selections, right, there is no selection being happening. It's just that the dimension of the expression is changing based on the input by the user. I'll just copy the sheet, and over here now I'll go back. I will create another group. So in the same dimension tab, I'll create another group. I'll tell generic, or I'll say timeline drill. Okay. What I'll do is I'll start with year, then I'll start with month. I'll include month. I will include territory ID after the month. So with now how this goes is, so when I select drill down, it works as a sequence. So first it will show year. If I pick a particular year, within that year it will show all the months. If I pick a particular month, within that month it will show all the territory IDs. If I pick a territory ID, the next whatever I give, so maybe customer ID I want to see all the customers that have bought. After customer ID, I might want to see the products that are all bought. So I build a drill. Now this is a drill, a proper drill. This is how you build drill down in ClickView. Now the best is, along with drill down, you can also have this cyclic also, right? So cyclic of expression is possible. You can have it as a combination with a drill down. You can't have a drill down of expression, only cyclic of expression. Now it is showing only 2008. The reason being, in my expression, right, I have clearly told that, technically I have mentioned only 2008, right? Year is equal to 2008. So whenever you use set analysis in any bar chart or anything, it will display data only for that set analysis value. So over here you have 2008, so it is displaying value only for 2008. Right. Now if I click on 2008, within 2008 it will show all the months. June to July are the months basically. Oh no, Jan to July. Yeah, the sorting is kind of weird. We'll do that later. Now suppose I select Jan within Jan. Now if you look at the current selections option, right, the values are being selected. So it is basically nothing but when I'm drilling down, right, when I select 2008 data is selected. When I select Jan data is selected. Within Jan data, I am getting to see which are the territory IDs. Within a particular territory ID, I see all the customers. For a particular customer, I see the products. So these are the only 2 products that this customer has bought. 24685 customer, right? Now if I want to drill up, so you have this arrow button on top. If you click the arrow button, it will drill out. So it's drill down and drill up. So this is how you create drill downs and drill cyclic groups in ClickView. Now, like I said, it is like a global definition. It's not specific to this chart type. So the moment you create this drill down, right, it will show as a dimension in every chart. The expressions is valid only for this chart type. So if it is basically a property of individual chart types. So it is not for, it's not a global definition. So this will be available only in this chart. Just let me copy this. So I copied this sheet. Now this drill down, drill up, all these things are fine. Now suppose a user selects territory ID and I select ship method ID or special offer ID. Let me just pick up expressions. I'll just ungroup these. I'll let the grouping continue. Now I have used the stack bar. The user says no, he doesn't want to see a stack bar. He wants to see two bars next to each other. So you say grouped. So technically for every territory there will be two bars everywhere. Right? Unit price. So I'll flip it to total order quantity, which looks a little more different, better. Special offer ID. Now the user says I don't want this method. He wants 10 different charts. That means one chart for one territory, so that he can easily print that and present it for, he can like kind of understand how one territory is doing. So you don't have to create 10 different objects. What you can do is right click, properties. I'll just first take off this budget line around this. Under dimensions, you have something called as trellis. So you can select trellis. You enable trellis chart. Right? Just say okay. Okay. What ClickView will do is it will create one chart for every value for the first dimension. That means territory ID 4 one chart, 6 one chart. So our territory ID is our first dimension, right? So it is creating a chart for every value in that, for that dimension, right? So 10 different charts are created automatically. This is more interesting when you put this into a pie chart rather than a bar graph. I'll show it when we do it in a pie chart. So like this, you can immediately have a share content for every territory. How is the share, right? So it more looks elegant. So we'll do that later. But for a bar chart also, you can do this. Trellis is basically splitting the based on this. If you look at it, there are two levels. Enable secondary level. What will happen is territory ID, special offer ID. I'll put ship method ID here. Third one. A combination of everything. So territory ID is first, right? And special offer ID is second. So it will create one chart for every combination value of a territory ID and a special offer ID. So territory ID 4, special offer ID 1, ship method ID 1 and 5. Same thing will continue for territory 4 and special offer ID 2, 4 to 16, right? 16 special offer IDs, 16 charts. Similarly, special offer ID territory 6, territory 1, territory 9, territory 10. So it will start creating one chart for the combination of first value and the second value. Any questions here? Right, so this is the trellis chart. So if you disable the trellis, then this will not show up. Um, Over here, if you go to the dimensions tab, there's something called as animate. If you enable this animate, right, so first dimension, it will just animate the way your data is flowed. There's no special use case or specific use that you can do it, but if you have it, you can build it. Basically, if you sort your values accordingly, not y value by numeric value. So the value will start from 2005, how it went to 2006, 7, and 8, right? So you can see that animation. And in the bottom, you can see next to the play button, you can see the year also that is getting populated. So that's the animation bit of it. Now you saw this product ID, unit price, and various other things. Let's just copy this file sheet. Right, I have this product ID. I have this thing. Now I showed a scroll bar. So basically, what happened was, under the presentation, if you enable the scroll access bar, users will be able to scroll. Right. So they are seeing the first 10 values. The rest of the values you can scroll. Now, what if your user says, no, I want to see only the first 10 values or first 5 values, or basically the top n values, or n may be the number that he wishes to input. So he wishes to give a certain input, so that value he wants to see here, those many numbers of values he wants to see. In that scenario, if you go to right click, there's one tab called dimension limits, right? This I have not come across, I have not spoken about this. So under the dimension limits, you can restrict the values that are being displayed. So if your first restriction is show only largest 10 values, right? Technically, it is showing only the 10 values. There is no scroll access. Scroll is for just, it's not restricting the values. Over here, it is restricting. So show larger 10. So I can or choose first 10, smallest 10, anything. How I want to do it. Smallest 10. Okay, the bars didn't change because the scale got changed. So it is 0 to 250 units only. So if you look at it, if you say largest, it is almost 80, 8 million unit prices. I'll go to quantity. Okay, so it is 3,500 units. So basically, I can restrict my values. Now this 10, right? If the user says I want to input something, so what you can do is you can build a slider or an input box. With the slider, you can say variable. You can say test3, single value. You can give 1 to 20. Static step 1. Now this value will be passed to those step 3. you can go to this value over here. You can say we test 3. So based on what selection the user will give. So if the user selects 3, only 3 will be selected. If 8 bars will be visible, 9 bars. So this way you can control the top number of number of bars visible. Just take off this scroll bar so it will look better now. Right, this way you can control how many top to be visible. Now along with this over there, if you look at the restriction options, there are a couple of them more. So you have largest, small, first, you have show values that are greater than a 5% of the relative total. So greater than 5%, relative total is nothing but, so if my total order quantity is 1 lakh, which are the products selling greater than 5,000? Right? That is what it means. Relative than 5%. 5% of 1 lakh is 5,000, right? So which are the products which are sold more than 5% of the relative total? 5,000 is what? So if you give this, it will show you that. Nothing technically. Show values that accumulate to 80%. So this is like a 80-20. So if you want to find out which are the top products, right? Like I will have 1,000 products, but my 80% of sales might be coming from the first 10 or 15 products only. So which are those kind of products? I can say that, okay, top 80% relative to the total largest values. Or I might see which are those, how many products, small products do I add to make the overall 80% of my profit or sales. So I can choose largest or smallest. So largest, it will give me the products that are contributing to the 80% of my overall sale. Include boundary variables, it doesn't have. So wherever, suppose it is 100, so even if it is 99.9, it should take the 100 value as a count. It's not lesser than or lesser than, it's lesser than or equal to. Now while you're doing the show first, like you can say largest of 10 values or whatever values, you can also have a bar, say show others, right? So this will show a separate bar. Suppose now I chose to show four bars, right? 4 product IDs which are the highest. Along with that, I have a fifth bar which basically says, sorry, I tried to show 6 bars. The 6th bar, the first 5 are basically the top products. The 6th bar is showing the cumulative sum of the remaining product IDs for you, just for you to give a feel now. Now in case you don't show others, you can use show total, right? And this will give you 5 bars of all the top products, and the last bar, 6th bar, will be the total value of the entire quantity, entire basically application or whatever selection. So that's where this under colors, right? There was some color called total, right? Total and others. So you can change the colors over here. So that's what this total and others was for. That's the dimension limit. I think with this we cover everything in the bar chart, so all the properties and everything. Now all the properties remain the same. Only the type, instead of bar, the type changes to a line, is the line chart. So if I keep the chart the same way that it is, and go to properties and select line, it will give me the line chart. Now in the line chart, interestingly, there is no stack option, right? Obviously you can't have a stacking. Now what happens if you put up 2 dimensions or 3 dimensions? And over here I have generic cyclic. Along with cyclic, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put store ID. What will happen is the moment there are multiple values or multiple fields, it will start creating multiple lines. So it doesn't stack or it doesn't group. So when you have to show like a trend or where you have multiple products that you want to show. For simple example, I'll take up a good, I'll just take up here and product ID. In a bar chart, it would have been a very cumbersome thing. Over here, it is more clear. The problem is in the expression, I have it as, I think this, I'll leave it. I'll take this. This is the bar chart. So in the bar, it will look like this, so cumbersome. If I flip this to a line chart, it will look like a trend. Yeah, there are so many lines, so many products, so many lines, but it is showing you one product where it is, right? If you pick this product, it just shows you that, okay, in 2007, this was the quantity. It is showing a trend for every product ID. Okay. Yeah, so all the properties, yeah, sorry. Alpana, I actually was on mute. So I told I'll come back in a second. So I think I was not audible to you. Anyways, so the properties of this line chart, right, remains exactly the same thing. So all the properties, the dimension limits, expression, grouping of expression, sort. In the style, it's only the difference. So you can have a area map or an line chart or vertically oriented. Presentation, like I had told, so for bar settings it is disabled, grayed out. For line settings it is enabled. Axis, it's again the same methodology. You can control what kind of axis you want. There's absolutely no difference over here. Colors also, there is no difference. The lines will basically be represented as colors. So overall it's the same chart, it's just that the orientation of line chart is different. Now there are places that you might use bar chart where you have one expression or where you just want to show the trend. You can not exactly trend, the actual value if you want to represent, you can use bar charts. Places where you have to show trend, right, dip in trend or increase in trend, so you generally use line charts. So if you look at here, this is showing the trend for all the product IDs over 4 years. So you can see some product IDs sharply starting in 2006, some sharply starting in 2007, right? It says that, okay, these are the products which did business only here or which were available. So if you look at it, one of the products is available only 2006 to 2007, only in 2 years. Apart from that, it is not there. So that kind of visualization you can create. The next chart type also has the entire properties same. So if you go to the general, so there's this bar combo chart. All the properties remain the same. So the bar chart, the line chart, all the properties remain the same. The only flexibility that you get in a combo chart is to choose what you want to represent. So in the bar, I'm limited only to a bar chart. In a line, I'm limited only to a line chart. Now over here, I can choose what I want to represent. Suppose if I say year, I'll remove this product ID. Now the representation choice is only for the expression. So over here I'm using order quantity. Now suppose I just use sum of unit price, right? I'll say unit price discount. I think unit price is pretty low. Discount is unit, I'll say unit price is very high, I think. To normalize, I'll divide it by 1000. Now you're looking at two trends, right? One is unit price. Order quantity is the blue one. The unit price is the red one. Now you're seeing both in this. Now if, okay, for example, if it was not unit price and if it was a budget amount, right? Instead of unit price, I'll name this as budget for example. Now you had budget, all you had to do is sum of budget. You don't have to do any other, like any other workout. You just have to do sum of budget. One is sum of order quantity, one is sum of budget. Now you're representing two lines. In this scenario, you can actually choose. So generally what the representation is, the bar chart is the actuals and the line above the bar to show the trend is the budget. So you can choose the order quantity as a bar. So you can uncheck line. Over here you are seeing, right, all the three are available. So in a bar chart only bar was available, in a line chart only line was available, line and symbol. Here all three are available. The reason is you can choose what you want. So you can choose the one expression, say represent it as bar, the other expression you can represent it as line, like this. So you can see actual versus budget. So you can build a trend. Now all the other properties are exactly the same thing, be it the drill downs, be it the dimension limits, expressions, sort, size, style. So you can have a cyclic group where you can have all the bars as a cyclic group, right? All the budgets as another cyclic group. Sort, style, presentation is again the bar settings and the line symbol settings both are active for this combo chart. Axis is again the same methodology, colors, number, everything. There's absolutely no difference between this. Any questions here? So these three chart types are, I mean, kind of similar in nature, and most of the properties are same. Even for the radar chart, it is the same. I'll come to this. But any questions still here? if I just copy this sheet and if I flip this chart, right, I'll just disable one of the expression, order quantity. I have the year. Instead of year, I'm going to put month. And flip this chart to a radar. I'm going to also put the year chart. I think year I'm going to take it off. Now what this does is, so if I represent this as a bar chart, so let's take this first as a bar chart. It is showing the order quantity for individual years, right? So individual month, Jan, Feb to December. If I just flip this to a radar chart, what happens is the axis, right, is at the center. The zero is at the center, and the lines that you're seeing, the fins, are basically the scale. So it is from 0 to 34,000. So every line is equally sized, representing every month, representing 1 month each. Now what is the idea of this? Whenever you run into this sizing thing, right, if you reset user sizing, reset docking, it will clear off all the user formatted settings or user formatted placements or drag and drop kind of a thing. It will give you the default setting basically. Now if you look at it, so Jan is here, Feb is here. Now this trend will technically give you a seasonal trend. So you can immediately understand which season is the highest value. Technically all the formatting or all the properties remain the same as a bar chart. Only thing in the style you have this fins, and axis you can control it. Okay, I've put off the axis color too bright, that's why it is showing that way. I'll leave it the way it is. Over here you don't need multicolored, so single colored will give you a quick trend. So it immediately says that your highest sales are in August and September, with moderate in May and with moderate in November, December, right? So Jan, Feb, March and October are the lowest sales months, and June, July are okay, right? It gives you an immediate seasonal trend of how your season is performing. But the property is like I said, it's only a bar chart oriented as a spider, a curve, I mean, in a circular method. That's the bar chart. Any questions here? And if you don't have any questions, or what I would suggest is go ahead and practice these chart types, like technically 4 chart types. Bar chart, I'm sure you should have practiced yesterday, but try the dimension limits and those circular groups for the expressions, and the line chart, combo chart, and the radar chart. This is called as a radar chart. You can practice all the 3 charts. Tomorrow we'll look at the ratio charts. Ratio is basically pie chart, funnel chart, area chart, and the Miko chart. It gives you the ratio between overall ratio for a particular value in a overall value. And of course, we'll look at the gauge chart also. Gauge chart in itself has like 4 or 5 different charts. So when you select gauge chart, right? So under the gauge chart, you have different styles: speedometer, tablet, traffic light, all these things. So that itself has like around 5, like you are seeing 7 different chart types. So pie chart is, but pie chart, funnel and Meecore are kind of the same thing. Is that okay? All right. Okay. Thanks, Alpana. Thanks, Saif. Mark, are you there? Any questions, Mark?
Thank you. Yeah, I have no questions. Some, actually, I'm very busy with something else, so just
Okay.
make sure that yeah, I'm gonna watch your watch the training later.
Okay. No problem. All right then. Thank you, everybody. I'll meet you
Yeah,
tomorrow.
thank you. See you later. Bye.
Bye. Bye.